We have to understand that Brazilian society is highly divided. And you have a middle upper class that wants, that's all for gentrification. It's all for cleaning, beautifying that city, pacifying the favelas, that thinks that better security technologies, higher walls is not a bad thing.
São Paulo é considerado uma grande meca do grafite, né? Mundial, pode-se dizer, né? Nacional sem dúvida, mas acredito que no cenário mundial ele é muito relevante. Sobretudo das juventudes de periferias também, que tem no grafite uma forma de expressar seu olhar sobre a cidade ou sua indignação.
There are many artists coming from many different, highly complex cities like São Paulo, 20 million people. You have poor street artists, you have wealthy street artists, and of course their backgrounds and places influences what they're speaking about. But I guess from what I see is this discontent with the fact that São Paulo is such, the public spaces in São Paulo are so privatized in some ways. The wall is the biggest symptom and the biggest symbol of a privatized city. And that's why they occupy that symbol with their art.
I think you can change a little bit people normal's life, you know, even if they don't like it, they're gonna question themselves. What the fuck is that on the street, you know? So, and I think that's the nice thing about art, you know, you kind of touch people in a good or a bad way, kind of like make they question themselves.
I think graffiti is typically the product of those who are either socially marginalised or feel socially marginalised. So why is there so much opposition to graffiti? What drives it? What drives these overreactions? And that's where I think the way to understand that is through the political and economic benefits that follow from being anti-graffiti. And I think there's two main things that are going on. One is it's about the gentrification of space. So we normally see strong anti-graffiti campaigns when we want to gentrify and sell space to like middle-class consumers, when we're worried about the tourist industry and things like that. The second function, I think, being anti-graffiti for Phils, is about rationalising sort of state interventions and punitive interventions into the lives of the most marginalised and socially excluded.
It's a society screaming, you know, we are forgotten on the poor areas, and we go to the city center, give the answer.
Empresas privadas, então hoje a gente tem não só nos Estados Unidos um presidente empresário, Donald Trump, como também temos aqui no Brasil um outro empresário que é o João Dória Jr. Né? E aí trazem valores que esse capital, né, que essa indústria do capital acaba fazendo.
Our new mayor, João Dória Jr. First of all, start with the pichação writing. Yeah, like pichação writing here is really repugnation, like kind of people hate it. For me, it's the most political art we have.
Doria has, in some ways, declared an open war against graffiti.
Política de se apagar os grafites na cidade, né, os murais, né, como na 23 de maio, em tantos outros lugares, as avenidas que foram consolidadas, mostram o quanto que as pessoas não reconhecem um tanto dessa cultura, né?
What I think here, I mean, we have to understand Doria not only as a politician, but as a very media-savvy person, as a former apprentice host of the Brazilian Apprentice host. This is a guy that understands a lot about media, right? He knows he's not going to win this war, and that wasn't his objective in the first place. He wants to please his constituency by declaring this. It's an easy target, the graffiti, and it's an easy war to pursue. I don't think it's gonna affect in the long term the thriving, autonomous, proud graffiti scene in São Paulo. It will target individuals. Some of them have been persecuted, some of them have been put in jail, and that is a shame, that is sad. Individual stories. Graffiti artists have been striking back, and it has united, I guess, graffiti artists and street artists and taggers, everybody against this guy.
Picho is a thing which show like there is another issues on the city for he be worried about it. Normally when they do a picho, they do in a place where it's like totally there, forgotten, like the government don't do anything, and then turning an occupied building, or then it's just there for 30 years like empty, you know, really dirty and really totally destroy it, and they go there and picho that place as to showing how the government don't give a shit.
Taggers, pichadores don't want to be liked. That's not their purpose. They want to, I see it more as a more direct political type of street art. And they want to address the facts that the city has been privatized. So they want to include the excluded. They want to show that through their taggings that they can go to that 30-story high building in São Paulo where normally only helicopters which carry the super rich are. So they include the excluded, they put the periphery in the center of the city, and I think that's very enriching.
Liberdade de expressão, Amarildo sem notícia, João de Santo Cristo não gosta de polícia. Quando o maluco mandado de peça brotaram, perguntaram, chamou filha da puta, cadê o DJ? Pelo visto arranhando o disco, moro nas costas do Cristo, treinamento culpa mim. Ontem eu vi um ministro com puta carro sinistro, eu tava comendo misto, parei do lado e pensei, esse maluco é o lixo, ganhei no jogo do bicho, usando 21, prefixo virado no capeta, mas no peito crucifixo, na quarta-feira eu sou assassina, preço fixo. pecados em glórias. Bora tá no beat, tá maluco, saca fluxo. Chapadão de codeína, muita grana, várias drogas, várias mina. Outra vida, outra foda, o mundo é foda, só não foda nessa jogatina.
Aí tá um papel bonito que o Eduardo faz, manda pra fazer.
During the preparation for the Olympics, we had a lot of process of cleaning up the city. We experienced here in Rio a great process of forced evictions. More than 40,000 people were evicted from their homes.
Aqui no Rio há uma relação ambígua com a favela, porque a favela é um lugar que tematizou, foi tema de muitas músicas, de muitas culturas que saíram da favela, como o samba. Mas essas mesmas pessoas que consideram esse aspecto positivo da favela são as pessoas que também enxergam na favela lugar onde só tem bandido.
Because you have to understand that some of these favelas are located in prime areas. They have some of the best views in modern Rio, overlooking that beautiful Guanabara Bay. And some of them are located near very well-off neighborhoods like Ipanema, like Copacabana, Botafogo. So this gave, especially entrepreneurs and politicians, an excuse to, to get their hands on very interesting property.
Nesse exato momento, na Alerj, Assembleia Legislativa, onde ficam os deputados aqui do Rio de Janeiro, está cercado por policiais, cachorros, grades, arames, devido aos protestos nessa cidade. E como ficou algo muito feio, eles contrataram artistas de rua para grafitar esse bunker. É uma coisa absurda. Se vocês puderem passar lá, não sei se vai dar tempo de filmar isso, é uma metáfora do Estado brasileiro. É um espaço de poder completamente hostil e separado do povo, mas que tenta camuflar de forma bonita o horror e a crueldade que é.
When Brazil won the right to host the Olympics and also the World Cup, it won these rights on a promise that it would modernize its infrastructure, it would pump billions of money into new roads, new hospitals, new tourism facilities as well, and this would create a legacy for the city, for all of its citizens, right? But what we know is that it was, even though there's heaps of money, and you can't deny that some of the airports got much better, some of the roads got much better, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, what the Olympics gave to some entrepreneurs and some politicians was the opportunity to clean the city.
Aqui, ao contrário, houve até um fato que a prefeitura ela se aproveitou da arte de rua para fazer políticas de higienismo.
They reformed the whole port district, and in this process a lot of people that live there, and they occupied buildings, and which are low-income people, families, were expelled from this part of the city. And it's also the part of the city where we have a great African heritage. The port district here in Rio was the one that received the most number of enslaved people. So we have a traditionally black culture there, which was practically erased. The street art, which is has a very different origin and a very critical standard against this gentrification process, they can be used as part of it. So it's very, I don't know, perverse.
I cannot think about the mural in isolation. You have to think about where the mural is and why it was commissioned to be giving colors to that, what they call Porto Maravilha, the marvelous port or the marvelous dock, which includes not only that mural, but the new light rail system, which includes the Museum of the Future, the Calavera, very impressive building, a multi-million-dollar state-of-the-art technology. It includes the whole refurbishing of public spaces, the new square. You have to think about that mural as part of a wider gentrification of the whole region, which is much more complex, which has affected people that were living in that space, which have lost their houses, which were forced to move elsewhere. So I can't like a work when I put it, I like the work in itself as a piece of art, but I don't like it when I think about its context. Much more could have been done with the Afro-Brazilian community, with Afro-Brazilian artists, with descendants of people who were buried, whose bones are still lying under that place, and that was ignored.
Chapadão de codeína, muita grana, várias drogas, várias mina. Outra vida, outra foda, o mundo é foda, sou uma foda nessa jogatina. Correria nunca para, só decolo, dispara, rima pro teu ego inflamável. Não briga, tu imita, hipocrisia, geração pedindo.